Alright, where I'm here. So it's week 5. We got
Big Blue.
and the Shark. Again. Alright, first up, we're going to read these things because it seems we have a good response. Everyone likes it. We kind of have fun with it. It's kind of turned into a job because CBS keeps on writing and writing and writing. It's like paragraphs. But we got the first matchup here. We got the Ravens versus Kenny's team. Working it. Ravens came into the game on a 3-game streak of improving their point total. They broke their streak but still got the W. Coach Steve Gray's squad wound up with a solid victory against Kenny's team, winning 68-60. The win brings the Ravens record to 2-3, while dropping Kenny's team to 3-2. Ravens relied heavily on Andre Ellington, who tallied 18 points. This is the first time this year that Ellington has paced the Ravens, meaning that he has scored the most points on their team. He finally looked healthy this week, outrunning 3 Bronco defenders on this 81-yard TD. That's our graphics department right there. See, it was good.
That's touchdown.
He was pacing.
Pacing.
Meanwhile, Kenny's team really lost this game as a team. They had 6 underperformers, with Toby Gerhart, 1 point, being the worst. Gerhart has yet to give Kenny's team even 1 week above average running back play this season. So,
Don't pick white guys.
is he white? Gerhart?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're not as used to running as other people. Coach Everhart's lineup decisions earned their team points last week and did it again this week, but not enough. Oh, I'm sorry, they didn't write that. They left the Bengals defense and Calvin Benjamin on the bench in favor of the Chargers D and Alshon Jeffrey, who were both expected to score less. Trying to make some big moves. These decisions gave Kenny's team a nice 28-point bonus, and the Chargers selection was the Volkswagen Star of the Week. Feed Dub. But Kenny's team still lost. All right, on to the next matchup. It's a family affair. Yeah, these things don't slide and shit.
So we have the matchup of G-Men and D-Funky Sox this week. All 29 of Peyton Manning's points counted in G-Men's win. If Coach John Zambuto was looking for a little excitement in this game, after last week's blowout, they certainly got it. G-Men just slipped by D-Funky Sox 53-52. Coach Zambuto should thank their lucky stars that they drew D-Funky Sox for this week's contest, since their squad would have lost to every other team this week. Ouch.
Hey, the win's a win.
That's right.
You gotta be gentle with the finger roll, man.
Loss drops D-Funky Sox to the last spot in the West Division at 1-4. The win brings G-Men to 3-2. Shouldn't a 38-year-old quarterback be slowing down just a little? Coach Richard Hall has to be asking the question after watching Peyton Manning lead G-Men to victory with 29 points. Manning set his career high for passing with 479 yards and also tossed 4 touchdowns to reach 503 total. Amazingly, his day could have been even better, but he had a 77-yard touchdown pass called back for an illegal block. There were 8 underperformers keeping G-Men from a proper victory, with the Seahawks defense 4 points being the worst of them. They were probably the biggest letdown this week, since they were projected to put up 20 points.
They only scored 4?
They only scored 4.
Yeah.
D-Funky Sox, meanwhile, were having a terrible time moving the football down the field, with the whole team gaining only 187 yards.
Whole team?
It's a fantasy team. You only gained 187 total.
I think the Dolphins had more than that and they had to buy.
Right. That's the worst result that any team this season has had in total yards category ever. No, I mean, I just added that. Coach Hall has to be kicking themselves for their lineup decisions this week. They started Alfred Morris and Kenny Stills instead of Ben Tate and Jason Witten, despite expert advice to do the exact opposite.
Expert advice.
Expert advice.
Richie don't follow no expert advice.
I
He
thought
is the
I was
expert.
going to say, I thought he was the expert.
He's the expert.
These decisions took a 7-point chunk out of D-Funky Sock's final score, which cost them the game. Coach Hall might want to draw a lesson from what happened, as their team has a much better record when they follow the expert's opinion on who starts. Listen to the experts, you amateur.
I keep texting you, Rich. I keep telling you.
No.
All right, no threat. Well, this week we got Big Blue versus the U. The
PU.
Johnny.
Oh.
Ooh, all right. Creek them comments aside. That's not an opinion of the dude at 302. After last week's 31-point effort, Big Blue came through big time this week. They demolished Unitas, winning 75-55. That 20-point margin was the biggest gap between any two teams this week. So we need to have this right here so I can act like I'm reading into the camera. The win brings Blue rec. Man, a little more. The win brings Big Blue's record to 3-2 while dropping Unitas to an identical 3-2. Coach Chris Short had been patiently waiting for Demarius Thomas to have a big game. And boy, did that patience pay off this week. Thomas broke the Broncos' franchise record. Damn, I didn't know this. With 226 receiving yards, delivering a team-leading 23 points to Big Blue Wrecking Crew. Half my total team points. He also found the end zone 2 times. Shaloming through the Cardinals' defense on the 31-yard strike. Is that shaloming?
Well, I think so.
Shaloming. I don't know what that means. Like
Shaloming?
cutting through the Cardinals' defense on this 31-yard strike. All right, hold on. Yeah, he's shaloming through. I thought shalom was like welcoming. Oh, slaloming.
Solid.
Oh shit, it looks funny reading. Okay, slaloming through the Cardinals. That was just in from the producers, and just plain blowing past everybody else on this 86-yarder. So he had a pretty good day. Thomas was joined by 3 other overperformers, including Marshawn Lynch, who totaled 11 points. Lynch now has receiving touchdowns in each of his last 3 games, and actually led the Seahawks in targets on Monday. So they're throwing the ball to him. I really like Lynch. That's a good pick.
Beast mode.
I'll trade you Peterson for Lynch.
Ah, well, think about that.
I took Peterson higher.
That's true. That's true.
Think on that.
I would have to be high. Think that.
Still think on it.
That's true. I got one.
All right. Unfortunately for Coach Jeffrey Chance, the Colts have never cut Steve Smith from their squad. Smith was the main culprit in Unitas' loss, scoring -1 points. After last week's, how can you sit him? No other wide receiver scored fewer points than that this week. His momentum from last week's 18-point performance apparently did not carry over. Because he's old and, you know what, everyone was good once.
Right. As good as they once were.
Yeah.
Everybody can
Once.
use
Coach Short should hope that the victory over a quality opponent like Unitas, who,
Quality opponent.
I don't know
It was
about
close
that,
most of the game.
establishes a pattern as their next 2 games are against winning teams, starting with Monica loves Clinton Dix
Yeah, she does.
next week. Helping things somewhat. Helping things somewhat. Andrew's team will be without Jimmy Graham, who has a bye and he's hurt anyway. Meanwhile, Unitas will be playing Beats Off Constantly next week. I think Unitas beats off constantly every week. He plays Beats Off Constantly.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright. On to the next.
What, you know,
This is quality entertainment, it is. I'll tell you.
Do you know the name of Homer Simpson's fantasy football team?
Donut Nicks.
No, over Dwayne Bell.
over Dwayne Bell.
Over Dwayne Bell. Yes, I like it.
I was over him last year because I drafted him, actually.
Antonio Cates, 15 points, leads beats off constantly to a big win over Big Sausage. The irony is getting thick. Beats
like
off
that.
constantly,
Sausage is thick. Here.
beat Big
That's what Dwayne tells me, anyway.
Beats off constantly beat Big Sausage Inc. Both times they played last year. It's the names. And kept that trend going this week. Beats off constantly took down Big Sausage handily.
Doesn't say
83-65.
Sometimes we gotta You got to handle the sausage. I don't know.
83 points, beats off constantly scored, set the high mark for the league this week. Excellent job, beats off there.
Dwayne was saying that OC's got a pretty good team. That's their first win, but they got a good team.
Beats off constantly. Got off the schneid this win.
Yeah.
They now sit at 1-4. The loss drops Big Sausage's Inc.'s record to 2-3.
That's pretty.
And Big Sausage 2 wins came over undefeated teams, and then he faces a team without any wins and loses.
He's being democratic.
Fantasy
He's
football.
Spreading the wealth, man. All right.
3 players, Arian Foster, Phil Dawson, and Antonio Gates, delivered victory to Beats Off constantly, getting 54 of their team's 83 points. Dawson scored 20 points, which are the most of any kicker this week.
Yeah. By one.
Right. His performance late on Sunday took him all the way from the 63rd best kicker to the 3rd best kicker in the league.
Did his kicker have a bye? Why did he play Dawson?
How do you get to be the 63rd best kicker? He hadn't played. Meanwhile, Coach Terry will have a hard time pinning the blame for this loss on any particular player.
Because this whole team sucks. Oh, you got me to it. Beat me to it.
Ben Roethlisberger was the worst of a 5-man group of underperformers,
That
dropping
sucked,
only 9 points.
Cost me money, too.
This is the first time this year that he was the worst starter on his team. The outcome of this one would have been different if Coach Terry had gotten all their lineup picks right. They left the Packers defense and their 12.5 expected points on the bench, favoring the Saints, and they had 9.5 expected.
Yeah,
This terrible decision, this cost Big Sausage Inc. a total of 18 points. If Coach Terry left the Saints on the bench and also started Andy Dalton, Big Sausage Inc. would have won the game. And yeah.
Kenny says CBS now sucks, but even if that is a computer doing that, or even some intern, that's pretty good.
Right.
Like, it actually kind of breaks it down a little bit, or who you should have started and whatever. And you should be, as a fantasy, you guys are all veteran fantasy owners, and you should be looking at that stuff anyway. Who you could have started, who you shouldn't have started. Yeah, that's what beats everybody up. All right, speaking of big sausage, I got carrying the load. Aaron Rodgers brings the goods in a game against Andrew's team. The Bills were able to grind out a solid victory this week against Andrew's team, winning by a score of 65-54. The win brings the Bills' record to 4-1, while dropping Andrew's team to 3-2. I love your team name, but it's just too hard to speak it. I'm sorry. Bills got more than half their points from just 2 players. It's just too hard. He's like, blah, 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 blah.
You could use a few less sticks in your mouth.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers and the Lions defense. Oh wait, Bills got more than I see it like I stopped in the middle of it. Have got more than half their points from just 2 players, Aaron Rodgers and the Lions defense. Rodgers did all that damage despite only throwing 19 times. When some of your throws look like this, it doesn't matter. Here's Aaron Rodgers.
Choose that.
That was a good throw.
Good throw.
It was a throwback. It was a Thursday.
Throwback.
Throwback. Haha, Monica loves Clinton Dix. Had 4 players who all put up the same 1-point performance. Like put up the 1. Yeah. I don't know. One of whom was Percy Harvin. To say Harvin was unlucky this week would be the understatement of the year. He had 3 separate touchdowns called back due to penalties. I didn't know that. You're right. That might have got a victory on that.
Right.
These teams will see a difference in the quality of their upcoming opponents. Bills will be going against the Funky Sox next week. Good timing because they suck, and I should be playing that. Richie doesn't get online. I don't think he even checks his email. He's not on Facebook, so Richie, if you're watching, you suck. Okay. It's because he ain't gonna watch it.
Right.
Good timing, as the Funky Sox will come into the matchup on a 3-game losing streak. Oh wait, CBS just said that for me. All right, I'm not much better, but I have the microphone. Haha, Monica loves Clinton Dix. Next 2 games are against winning teams, starting with Big Blue next week. Adding to difficulty, Andrew's team will have to put their tight end depth to the test in that one as Jimmy Graham has his bye week. I thought Jimmy Graham had his bye week this week.
No, he has a bye week this week. Plus, he got a boo-boo last week. So
He's got a bad boo boo.
yeah.
He hurt, and they really, you know what? The Saints suck, and then without Jimmy Graham, they really suck
Really kind of suck.
because you won the pick 'em though. You got lucky.
Right, yeah, I did. My bad. Corey Dickinson's lineup and Matthew Stafford's performance cost Miami Sharks the game. Stafford.
He's my stud.
Calvin Johnson. Not playing. The Evans did not look good for Miami Sharks coming into the game. They had scored the fewest points of any team over the last 3 weeks,
But
while
matched
Devil
up.
Dogs had scored the most points of any team.
How is
Both
that?
teams lived up to expectations.
Why? He didn't score that many points. He's got
Right.
most points this week.
Well, he won, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, expectations as he won.
Yeah. Devil Dogs slid by Miami Sharks, winning 60-57. Tight.
3 point.
The win brings
3 point.
3 point. Well, maybe
It's
not that
tight.
tight, but the win brings
That's
Devil
tight
Dogs'
for me.
record to 3-2 while dropping Miami Sharks to 2-3. The Panthers defense, special teams were probably in Coach Dwayne Mitchell's doghouse after last week's 0-point performance. He might be let out now. The Panthers separated themselves from the rest of the crew on Devil Dogs, notching 18 points.
It's a good performance.
Meanwhile, this week's loss for Miami Sharks was a true group effort. They were brought down by
We're a
7
team.
underperformers,
We're a team.
the worst of whom was Matthew Stafford, 8
Yes.
points.
2 weeks in a row.
Stafford was sacked season high 6 times on Sunday, which is extra bad news given that he got treatment on his throwing arm after last week's game.
I should have started Wilson. I
On
didn't
the,
even mention that.
on the coaching front, both sides made mistakes this week. Coach Corey Dickinson
Does it?
tried to second guess the experts this week when setting their lineup, as the result was very costly. They went with Cordarrelle Patterson
Oh.
over the higher-ranked Audrey Williams. Terrible
Oh, he
decision,
got
shaved
9
9
points. Oh,
points
that
from
would've won the
Miami
game,
Sharks
too.
score, which cost them the game.
That move and
Wilson.
the Wilson move.
Coach Dickinson, can you tell us why you made the lineup decisions you did this
That's
week?
only because it's my
Oh, because it's on.
it's on my
you're the,
thing.
thing.
I wonder what happens if you type something in there. Does it do it?
Yeah,
I made a lot of
probably.
decisions because actually I forgot that Minnesota played on Thursday and they played and I would have probably started Williams, especially now that Jennings was hurt. Plus, no, he got hurt that game.
Coach Mitchell's game day decisions have been the worst in the league this season, and this week showed why. They started Reggie Bush instead of Greg Olson.
Reggie Bush sucks.
Despite the experts' prediction that Olson should have played, so that would be a flex. They're saying start Reggie Bush over Greg Olson, I imagine. The
Oh,
decision
yeah.
took a 14-point chunk out of Devil Dogs' final score, which almost cost Coach Mitchell's team the game. Coach Mitchell has now cost their team points in both of the last 2 weeks. Not doing a good job of coaching, but hey, you're winning.
Well, he's got a lot of guys on his bench. He got a mixed in. He's got a good
Deep
side
team.
end.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Big Blue.
The shark.
See you guys later.